I'm running for Bremerton City Council, District 6. Came back to the Pacific Northwest, and I just fell for Bremerton. You can hear the seals bark on the winter evenings on either side of this ridge. This is my home forever. I want to be the advocate of a hardworking district. I want the people who live here to have decent representation, to have a voice at City Hall. So here's what I'm going to work hard for. It's good government, transparent, representative, with your own flowering. Sorry, for affordable housing, a sustainable city with living wage jobs, and underneath all of this, there's got to be respect for human lives and human dignity. If you've got any hopes or concerns for Bremerton, go to my website, mocklerforbremerton.com. You can't represent the people if you don't go around asking them what they want. But with the pandemic, it's a little tough to knock on doors, so we're doing this. Hang on, straight.
Okay, so one of the things that's been happening is, at least reportedly, the Bremerton Police Department, when all other options are not available, have been referring homeless people, houseless people to our city parks. That means that other people can't or won't use the city parks. So I've proposed this to Director Tim Barker, and I'm now pitching it to you, which is we can post signs saying to conserve water, we're going to water the parks at night whenever use is lowest. And I think that that actually would save water. And it would also be a deterrent. And I'm tossing that over to you guys to see what you think of it.
Well, currently it's against the law to be in the parks after dark, and we can enforce that. And we do when we have resources. As far as referring people to the park, for the most part, we don't refer them anywhere. We just tell them where they cannot be. And they always say, well, where can I be? And our response is usually, well, that's not up to us to tell you where to go. We're just telling you can't be here. And the people that we're telling that to have been offered services multiple times. And so now they put themselves squarely in the criminal vagrant role, not a homeless person that is downtrodden.
This is just to discourage encampments, because I am hearing that the word on the street is that you can go camp in a park. And I take Chief Wolf's point, which I thought was really well made, which is these are not people who need to be connected to services. They are people who have rejected services over and over, which is, different. And I take Chief Wolf's point, which I thought was really well made, which is these are not people who need to be connected to services. They are people who have rejected services over and over, which is, different.
With Lulu Hatton Park, you talked about the dignity of having real bathrooms versus porta potties. And of course, there's a big fight for the porta potties, and my folks would be pissed if I didn't ask about it. So, if the park folks have the dignity of having real bathrooms, what is the consternation, I guess, from council of putting potties down there or a bathroom down there? And should folks try to find a different solution? If we're keep hitting our head on a dead wall, how should we shift our thinking and avocation to find a way to get those folks what we believe they need?
Well, I'm thinking about your question. The first is, that 10 grand that we allotted, less a chunk of money that we paid to you?
G2.
Yeah, actually. Is still sitting in our budget. The mayor refuses to pay it. If you look in any government document, the legislative body makes policy decisions, and then the executive body carries them out. So, if that doesn't happen, we haven't been able to figure out how to go around that.
Wow. Okay. So just to be clear, because this is important, right? So there was $10,000. It was earmarked for porta potties. They gave that money to G2. We put porta potties down on the block for several months, which basically pennies on the dollar when you consider how much it was. It was great, worked out very well. The pilot ended and the tents went away. And so there's a chunk of money that's still sitting there, but that is tied up with the mayor and not with council.
No, it's sitting in our budget, and from time to time, we go, is there any way to do that? The mayor feels it would be too great a risk.
Even though he has proof of concept, which is...
And I take Chief Wolf's point, which I thought was really well made, which is these are not people who need to be connected to services. They are people who have rejected services over and over, which is, different.
Hardworking district. I want the people who live here to have decent representation, to have a voice at City Hall. So here's what I'm going to work hard for. It's good government, transparent, representative, with your own flowering. Sorry, for affordable housing, a sustainable city with living wage jobs, and underneath all of this, there's got to be respect for human lives and human dignity. If you've got
My name is Robin Weldon, and I would like to incorporate everything Mr. Camacho said. The thing is, without public bathrooms, besides it, criminalizing and dehumanizing people that can no longer afford to live inside in the city of Bremerton because of hyper-gentrification and favoritism for developers, that fecal matter is in the streets. People have to go every day. You can't criminalize somebody for something that is a regular bodily function. So that instead of sewers, that fecal matter goes into our storm drains. It goes right out into Smith Cove. It goes right out into the Port Washington Narrows. And again, like Mr. Camacho said, It is a UN human right. It is considered a human right to have public bathrooms and sanitation, to be able to wash your hands. People are not treated as human beings here. They're dehumanized by cruelty.
Jose Camacho, Friends of Smith Cove. When I walk around the park that's a block away from my home, I see doggy bags, and those doggy bags are there. So when people walk their dogs and their dog takes a poop, they can put the poop in the bag and dispose of it where it doesn't pollute Smith Cove or the Sailor Sea. It's a very common sense thing to do. However, the city is persecuting the homeless and continues to refuse to provide them with public toilets. If you're unhoused, you either have to be arrested or poop outside. It's bizarre to me. This is a standard of civilization. Across the world, cities have public toilets. The UN says sanitation is a human right. Perversely, this is a big deal for the city of Bremerton. So I don't believe that this plan has anything about public toilets. I've been told the mayor is deeply adamant that this will never happen, right? So we are working on a shelter at the moment. I would bet that does not include off-site public toilets. There seems to be a connection between the city's servility to the developer cartel, bright, shiny buildings, high-rises, Yahoo, the New Seattle. A connection between that and the idea that, God forbid, we should have to see poverty-stricken people. Better to keep them in the dark or drive them out of the city. So it's completely bizarre and inhumane to me. We've seen Rock the Block. They're like the special ops of the homeless. I've seen their stuff. I've seen them on the street. My partner has helped a homeless lady who's driving around in a car that's probably going to break down. She has to maneuver through her day to find a toilet she can use. And she's ill. So until your wastewater plan provides for public toilets, as far as I'm concerned, that's a sham. Great. So if you're housed, if you have money, if you're a regular person, cool. But if you are one of the rising number of homeless, you're out of luck. We should provide public toilets for these people. I've been homeless. I've pooped in railroad stations. I've pooped on railroad tracks. In my Public Record Act inspections, I've gone to DCD records of a high-rise, and in those records, weirdly, was an incident report. They arrested a homeless man. He had a pile of poop in his sleeping spot. Why would DCD have that record?
Thank you, Mr. I assure you. Mr. Sorensen, do we have anybody with a hand up?
Kimmy Sibens. Sibens?
She do her 20, I need to be fair.
Yes.
She did do her 24 hours? Okay, Ms. Stevens, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Eric. Hi, this is Kimmy Siebens, a registered nurse representing myself and the Bremerton Homeless Community Coalition. This past year, the number of unsheltered residents in Kitsap County has unfortunately more than doubled. Over half are actually right here in Bremerton. Today, I'd like to address the $10,000 that was allocated for public restrooms that was approved by this council but never implemented. For many years, our unhoused neighbors and advocates have highlighted this urgent need, yet we've seen no action, with the responsibility consistently shifting between your offices. I respectfully don't know whether the council understands its legislative authority or not. They actually can advance this initiative with a supermajority vote of 5-2. They have already demonstrated their support by allocating that 10 grand. I haven't been able to figure out what's preventing them from exercising this option. It's very concerning to me when Councilmember Coughlin stated on June 4th that, quote, "I really want to iterate a theme here. Council allocated money for downtown restrooms. We gave it to administration to implement it, and it wasn't implemented," end quote. I'd like to remind everyone listening of a Washington state law, RCW 4220040, which states that public officers who knowingly make false statements in their official capacity are committing a gross misdemeanor. Because he is a NASA scientist and someone running for mayor, I have a very hard time believing he doesn't know how the government works. Being dumb is not a defense for this intelligent person. To prove that this law is applied, just look at a previous mayor of Langley, Washington, who in the past spent 15 days in jail after being found guilty of the same gross misdemeanor. The judge in that case stated that he had betrayed public confidence, asserting that someone who commits such acts should not remain in office. As a friendly reminder, I would also like to iterate something. The city council, they create legislation, like to address the need for public restrooms. If Mayor Wheeler disagrees, he can totally veto it. The council could then override that veto with a 5-2 vote. Should the mayor not enforce the law, legal remedies through a writ of mandamus can compel him, or else he would be held in contempt of court. And that's it. It's not as complicated as you are presenting it. Our unhoused community members cannot keep waiting while you keep dodging responsibility. They deserve real action from the body that has both the funds and authority to address this need. If what you need is more political will, please tell us. We're here to help. Our coalition can provide the support you might need. Currently, there is such a lack of transparency and so much political double talk. I honestly cannot speculate on what your true barriers are unless you tell us and let us help you. Thank you.
System will be used so that everyone is treated fairly. With that, I now open up for public recognition.
Jose Camacho, Friends of Smith's Cove, Rock the Block. I started coming to council and planning commission for these comments, usually objections, because I discovered that city bureaucrats just outright lie about formal public processes. The Evergreen Point project was rigged by Andrea Spencer's DCD. And 22 months later, it's still pending, and you all are stonewalling. So related to that, this problem is endemic to Bremerton's government. And as a Puerto Rican, we quickly learn that we need to discern who are real allies and who are fake allies, just like MLK said about white liberals. What I have discovered is a lot of council members pretend they care about the homeless, they want to do something about public bathrooms, yada, yada, yada. And then I read the law that you are supposed to be knowledgeable about. The city charter basically is structured so that the mayor cannot stop you. You have the power to override any veto by the mayor. So if you guys want to make public bathrooms for your fellow Bremertonians, you can make a law and the mayor has to eat it. And it's as simple as that. It's right there in writing. And you guys have actually overridden the mayor's veto in 2022, the noise nuisance. So you've done it. It's in the city charter. So instead of admitting that, and instead of being honest and saying you don't actually care about it, you've lied to the public. You blame the mayor because you've allocated 10 grand, but according to you guys, he won't implement it. Us poor council members, we're powerless. Oh, we can't do anything about it. So you guys absolutely, cynically have lied to our faces. And the problem with American democracy is that it does depend on good faith. It does depend on trust. And as skeptical and cynical as I am, it is very natural to trust even you guys. So we do, until we lose that trust and we start making inquiries. And in this case, you guys can't hide from this. If you don't want public bathrooms for the homeless, then say so. And some of you haven't, so kudos to you. But some of you have pretended to care, pretended to be allies, and lied to our faces. The mayor is not the obstacle here. You are lawmakers and you are refusing to make law to help the homeless. Portable bathrooms have been begged for years, since at least 2023. And you guys are just shameless liars.